It was a place of death and despair. Among the tombs a man wandered, wild, tormented, consumed by an unseen force. He howled into the night, his voice filled with anguish. Chains could not hold him. Shackles could not bind him. He broke them apart with terrifying strength. The people of the city feared him. He was an outcast, a man possessed by a legion of demons. No one could help him. No one dared to come near. But then Jesus arrived. The moment the man saw Jesus, something incredible happened. He ran to him and fell at his feet. But it was not the man who spoke. It was the demons within him. They begged, they pleaded. Do not send us away. Instead, they asked for something unusual. Let us enter the pigs. Why did they make this request? And even more puzzling, why did Jesus grant it? Welcome to Bible Stories, where we uncover the mysteries of the Bible and explore its powerful truths. If you love deep biblical insights, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video to help spread the word. Stay with me as we uncover the truth behind this mysterious event, straight from the Word of God. Now let's look into today's story. The story takes place in a mysterious and eerie land, the region of the Gerasenes. This was a Gentile territory, a place unfamiliar to the Jewish disciples of Jesus. It lay beyond the Sea of Galilee, across the waters that had just been violently stirred by a storm. Mark chapter 5 verse 1-2 tells us, they went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. The hills were dark, rising above the shore like silent sentinels. The air was thick with unease. This was no ordinary place. It was a land of the dead. Scattered across the hillside were ancient tombs, carved into the rock. Some were open, revealing shadows within. It was here that the man lived, or rather, where he was kept. A tormented soul, banished from society, left to wander among the dead. He was alone, except for the legion of demons that controlled him. Luke chapter 8 verse 27 tells us, for a long time this man had not worn clothes or lived in a house, but had lived in the tombs. He was more beast than man. His body bore scars, wounds he had inflicted upon himself. His voice was a chilling cry in the night, a sound the people of the town feared. No one dared to come near. They had tried to restrain him. They had bound him with chains, shackled his hands and feet, but with supernatural strength, he tore them apart. Mark chapter 5 verse 4 says, for he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. No one. Until now. Through the mist, a boat touches the shore. Jesus steps onto the land. His disciples follow closely, still shaken from the storm they had just endured. But someone is watching. The possessed man sees Jesus from a distance. And then he runs, but not to attack, not to hide. He runs to Jesus and falls to his knees. Why? What happens next will shake the very forces of darkness. Stay with me as we witness one of the most powerful confrontations in the Bible. From the darkness of the tombs, he emerged. A wild figure, filthy and scarred, his body trembling with unnatural strength. His hair was matted, his skin covered in dirt and dried blood from wounds he had inflicted upon himself. His eyes burning, desperate, yet full of torment, locked onto Jesus, and then he ran. Mark chapter 5 verse 6 tells us, when he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. This was no ordinary man. He was possessed, controlled by a force far greater than human will. A legion of demons had taken hold of him. Legion, a term used for a Roman army unit consisting of up to 6,000 soldiers. This man was not under the influence of just one unclean spirit, but many. Mark chapter 5 verse 3-5 describes his terrible condition. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain, for he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. The people of the city had tried everything. They had bound him, restrained him, cast him out, but nothing could contain his supernatural strength. He lived among the dead, tormented, restless, his mind consumed by the voices inside him. But here's the question. How did he recognize Jesus? Before the disciples could react, before anyone could speak, the man dropped to his knees before Jesus. He did not attack. He did not resist. Instead, he worshiped. But it wasn't truly the man who spoke. It was the demons within him. Mark chapter 5, verse 7, he shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." How did they know who Jesus was? Because demons recognized the authority of Christ. James chapter 2, verse 19 tells us, "You believe that there is one God." Good, even the demons believe that, and shudder. Though the people of the town feared this man, the demons feared Jesus. They knew exactly who he was, the Son of the Most High God. They knew his power. They knew he had authority over them. But why did they beg for mercy? Why did they plead not to be cast away? The answer reveals something profound about the spiritual realm. The air was thick with an unseen presence. The man, on his knees before Jesus, shook violently, his body writhing as if something inside him was desperate to escape. But it wasn't just him speaking. It was the legion of demons within him. They begged. They pleaded. These demons, so powerful, so terrifying to men, now trembled before the presence of Jesus. Demons recognize the power of Christ. They know their time is limited. They understand that one day they will be cast into eternal punishment. Luke chapter 8, verse 31 gives us more insight. And they begged Jesus repeatedly not to order them to go into the abyss. The abyss, a place of imprisonment for fallen angels, a place of torment and judgment. This is what they feared. This is what they wanted to avoid. Then something strange happened. The demons made a request. They did not ask to remain in the man. They did not ask to be free. Instead, they asked for something else. Mark chapter 5, verse 10. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the region. They did not want to leave. They desired to stay in that territory. But why? Because demons are territorial. They had established control there. They had influence, and they did not want to lose it. Then came their desperate request. Mark chapter 5, verse 11 to 12. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." Pigs, a herd of unclean animals, grazing peacefully on the hillside. Why would the demons choose pigs? Because demons seek a host. They desire a body, something to inhabit, something to control. And if they could no longer torment the man, they would settle for the swine. But here's the real mystery. Why did Jesus allow it? Why didn't he cast them into the abyss immediately? Why didn't he destroy them on the spot? The answer holds a powerful revelation about the spiritual realm. Stay with me as we uncover Jesus' shocking response and the chaos that followed. Then, in a moment that shocked everyone, Jesus agreed. Mark chapter 5, verse 13. He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Thousands of pigs, suddenly possessed, shrieked in terror. Chaos erupted on the hillside as the entire herd, driven by the demonic force within them, stampeded toward the cliff's edge. Then they plunged. One by one they fell. The water churned violently as the bodies of the swine were swallowed by the sea. But why? Why did Jesus allow this? Why grant the demons' request instead of destroying them on the spot? There are several possible reasons, each revealing something profound about the spiritual realm and Christ's power. 1. Judgment and exposure of evil. The destruction of the pigs was a dramatic display of demonic wickedness. The townspeople, who had feared the possessed man for so long, now saw with their own eyes what these demons were truly capable of. They witnessed, in an instant, how the forces of darkness bring destruction and death wherever they go. Second proof of deliverance. If the demons had simply left the man with no visible sign, people might have doubted his healing. But the death of 2,000 pigs was undeniable proof. The man was truly freed. The spirits had left him, never to return. 3. A sign of Jesus' power over demons. The number didn't matter. A legion of demons, thousands of them, were completely powerless before Christ. They could not resist his command. They had to obey. This moment made one truth crystal clear. Jesus has absolute authority over the forces of darkness. But what happened next was even more surprising. The man was free. The demons were gone. And yet, the reaction of the townspeople was not what anyone expected. And now the man, the one who had been tormented for so long, stood completely free. He was no longer screaming, no longer cutting himself, no longer a prisoner to the dark forces that had ruled his life. But instead of celebration, there was silence. The people of the town, hearing about what had happened, rushed to the scene. Mark chapter 5 verse 15 tells us, "When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons, sitting there dressed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. Afraid, not overjoyed, not thankful, but afraid. The man who had once terrorized their region, the one they had tried to chain, the one they had avoided for years, was now at peace. So why were they afraid?" Mark chapter 5 verses 16 to 17 gives us the answer. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. They begged Jesus to leave. The Son of God stood before them. He had just performed a miracle unlike anything they had ever seen. He had freed a man from a legion of demons, proving his divine power. But instead of embracing him, they rejected him. Why? Because they lost something. 2,000 pigs, gone. Their livelihood, their economy, their wealth, swept away in an instant. And this is where the story challenges us. How do we respond to what Jesus has done? Do we rejoice in his power, even when it costs us something? Or do we, like the people of Gerasenes, push him away? This moment was about more than a herd of pigs. It was about a choice. They could have embraced Jesus. They could have welcomed him into their town, listened to his teaching, and received even more miracles. But instead, they chose their comfort over Christ. And so Jesus did not force himself upon them. He turned and prepared to leave. But one person wasn't ready to say goodbye. It was the man, the one who had been possessed, the one who had lived in darkness and torment for so long. But now he was different. He was clothed. He was in his right mind. He was free. Mark chapter 5 verse 18 tells us, as Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. This man wanted to follow Jesus. After all, Jesus had rescued him from unimaginable suffering. He had set him free when no one else could. Wouldn't Jesus say yes? Wouldn't he invite this man to travel with him, to become his disciple? But instead, Jesus gave him a different mission. Mark chapter 5 verse 19. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." Jesus didn't take him away. Instead, he sent him back. Why? Because this man had a story to tell. He had lived among the tombs, tormented by demons. Now he was a living testimony of God's mercy, and so he obeyed. Mark chapter 5 verse 20. So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him. And all the people were amazed. This man, the one whom everyone had feared, became the first evangelist in Gentile territory. He shared his testimony. He spread the good news of Jesus, and the people listened. His past did not define him. His story became his mission. And what about us? Jesus has changed our lives too. He has freed us from things that once held us captive. Are we willing to go and tell others how much the Lord has done for us? Because sometimes the greatest testimony isn't in leaving everything behind to follow Jesus. It's in staying right where we are and sharing his mercy with those around us. What an incredible story. A man once lost to darkness, restored, a legion of demons, defeated, and an entire town faced with a choice. So what can we learn from this powerful moment in Scripture? First, Jesus has complete power over demons. No evil force can stand against him. The demons trembled before him, knowing their time was up. His authority is absolute. Second, the devil's goal is always destruction, but Jesus brings life. The demons begged to enter the pigs, and what happened? The entire herd was destroyed. That's what Satan does. He steals, kills, and destroys. But Jesus came to set us free. And finally, we must respond to Jesus with faith, not fear. The people of Gerasene saw a miracle. But instead of welcoming Jesus, they pushed him away. Will we make the same mistake? Or will we embrace his power and mercy? Now I want to hear from you. Why do you think Jesus allowed the demons to enter the pigs? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so more people can discover the deep mysteries of the Bible. This is Channel, bringing the Bible to life one story at a time. Until next time, stay blessed.